making a point about the sentencing regime, and I think it's right for us to spell out precisely what the applicable regime was at that time. This isn't about blame. This is about looking to make sure.
I mean, that was the tone the Prime Minister took on the television yesterday.
Well, because people were pointing a finger at him and trying to make it political. I think he was entitled to set out the facts.
The Conservative Party collectively has had 9 years in which it could have clamped down on this, and yet you look at the comments of people who look into this. Mr. Aitchison said that there's been little tangible progress when it comes to exclusion units for jihadis. 3 were promised, announced, only 2 are in operation, and they're sparsely populated. I mean, the fact is, if we're talking about getting on top of jihadi terrorists or potential terrorists, this government's had 9 years and hasn't done it.
Well, no, on several fronts we have actually acted. First of all, on sentencing, we did change the rules on determinate sentences and ended automatic release for dangerous offenders. We took action in 2012 and then in 2015 to do that. Before the election, I'd announced further measures to end automatic early release for serious violent and sexual offenders. The Ian Acheson review has largely been implemented.
Well, he says it hasn't. He says there's been little tangible progress.
I've asked
That's what he says.
Well, we've set up separation units, as you said, and we've also trained
but
thousands
only 2.
of staff.
You said you needed 3.
We have 3.
You've only set up 2.
No, we've set up.
That's what it says.
Well, we've set up 3. But what I'm doing.
And how many people are in there?
There are 28. We're talking about a small cohort of people here. I've asked my permanent secretary overnight to look again at the issues raised by Ian. I want to make myself absolutely satisfied that we're doing everything we can to implement those recommendations. Don't forget here, Adam, we're dealing with a very complex and very manipulative cohort of people.
I understand.
This is not straightforward.
I understand it's difficult, and it's difficult for any government. The question is whether Conservatives can claim any credit or people can have any confidence in Conservative government. I mean, let's take another one. The former Chief Inspector of Prisons, Nick Hardwick, says, let's be clear, all this talk about longer sentences, de-radicalisation programmes and closer probation and supervision, who precisely is going to do this? These are services in crisis, hemorrhaging experienced staff and struggling with chaotic reforms. I mean, that's the verdict of the Chief Inspector of Prisons. And again, I put it to you, the Conservatives have been in charge for 9 years.
Look, we've been dealing with serious terrorism for many years. We put in full resource, not just the probation service and the prison service, but the police and the security services as well, working together. The Prime Minister and I announced a major package of investment in our prison system, 2.75 billion into our prison system, and that's going to be.
That was presented as just to create more places. It wasn't presented to sort out the rehabilitation and training within prisons at the moment.
Multifaceted approach. It also involves improved security measures, which are clearly relevant to this cohort, and it's also going to be accompanied by further reforms. I achieved a 5% increase in my own departmental budget for the next year. There is no doubt that this Prime Minister and I are very much focused upon a criminal justice system.
You talk to anybody working in probation, anybody working in rehabilitation, and they will say it's getting worse, not better, in terms of the resources, the amount of time available, the skilled staff. That is the legacy of the last 9 years.
Well, no, I announced major reforms to probation already to bring the probation service back together into a coherent way. We're already recruiting more probation
it was privatised
officers.
by Mr. Grayling, wasn't it?
But what we're talking about